Prosecutor appears before House Committee as chairman worries for safety of expert witness. Police panel report has identified severe failings in the police handling of the case. This eventually led, through omission, delay or confusion, to the evidence put before a prosecutor, Naksuk, who is approaching retirement at the Office of Criminal Litigation in Southern Bangkok at the end of June. This resulted in the final and most serious charge against Boss Yoravuth being dropped. The current investigations, despite public fatigue at the complexity of issues generated, are making progress towards uncovering the truth in what can now be easily termed a scandal. The chairman of the House Committee investigating the Boss Yoravuth scandal on Friday expressed his concerns for the safety of a senior police officer who is central to the Red Bull affair, which has resulted in a wealthy young man who fled Thailand from justice having all charges against him dropped through a series of machinations which have angered the Thai public and left foreign observers stupefied at the extent of the failures already being revealed. Naksuk, an assistant attorney general, appeared this week before a number of panels including the House of Representatives Committee on Law, Justice and Human Rights. The senior prosecutor, approaching retirement, defended his decision at the end of June to drop the last remaining criminal charge against the Red Bull scion Yoravuth Boss Yoravuth. The decision has sparked public outrage and enormous controversy. This has led to a large number of inquiries, not least within the criminal justice system. The number of simultaneous inquiries and an increasing array of issues to do with the controversy that has arisen over the dropping of all charges against Yoravuth, who fled Thailand on the 27th of April 2017 only to be told by a top police officer on the 24th of July this year that he is free to return to the kingdom, has resulted first in anger as the scale of the failure in the administration of justice could no longer be covered up, but now increasingly, public fatigue. Despite this, the ongoing investigations are uncovering useful information which, if pursued, would go some way to at least partially restoring confidence. The House Committee investigating the Boss Yoravuth scandal heard the chairman express concern for the safety of a senior police officer, an expert witness, whose critical testimony led to a controversial decision by the senior official at the Office of the Attorney General, Naksuk, to drop the sole remaining criminal charge from 2017. Police forensics officer told committee chairman he would name the commanding officer who ordered him to change his evidence in relation to the case. The officer in question is Police Colonel Thanasit Tingchen, from the Office of Police Forensic Science, who the chairman claims told him that he changed his original evidence in relation to the case and the crucial speed of the Ferrari supercar after being ordered to do so by a commanding officer. At the hearing by the committee, the officer in question, however, would only go so far as to say that his commanding officer introduced him to an expert from the King Monkit's Institute of Technology in northern Bangkok. This person was identified as Prosecutor, who heads up the Automotive Safety and Assessment Engineering Center there. Mr. Sira has promised to call this expert also as a witness. House Committee led by MP Sira has not been afraid to aggressively delve into the matter despite growing public weariness at the endless stream of committees, panels and investigations into the Boss Yoravuth or Red Bull case. The one committee that has so far been highly effective at getting to the bottom of the matter is the House Committee chaired by Palong Pracharath MP, Sira, who is well known in Thailand for his impatience with cover-ups and corruption within officialdom. The chairman, Mr. Sira, also made a startling statement on Friday in which he wondered aloud as to the safety of the key police witness following the death of another key witness in the case, 40-year-old Mr. Yoravuth Marthong, in a motorbike accident on the 30th of July in Chiang Mai. We wonder if Police Colonel Thanasit could be in danger, like a witness in the case who was in Chiang Mai, said Mr. Sira. In the aftermath of Mr. Yoravuth's death, Mr. Sira also called for police protection for the second eyewitness in the case, Air Marshal Jakrit Thanomkulabata. In recent days, police in Chiang Mai have ruled, however, that after a thorough investigation, that the death of the witness was simply an accident. Key prosecutor appears before the committee and defends his decision with ease and on clear grounds. On Thursday, the key man at the center of the storm following the dropping of the final charge against now 35-year-old Yoravuth in relation to the death of Police Sergeant Wichian Klan Prasit, a sergeant major at Thongla Police Station on the 3rd of September 2012, gave evidence. Mr. Yoravuth is the son of Chalerm Yoravuth, who heads up the family at the center of the Red Bull drink empire, which is estimated to be worth over $20 billion. Assistant Attorney General Naksuk was appearing in front of the committee, his second appearance before an investigation panel within hours, to explain his decision. The experienced prosecutor, who is nearing retirement, told the committee that his decision was a proper one based on due process and again pointed to the evidence placed before him in the case filed by police investigating the death of the policeman nearly 8 years ago. Prepared to have his financial record examined, Mr. Nate, the key case official at the Office of Criminal Litigation in Southern Bangkok, told the committee that he was prepared to have his financial records checked and that there was no ulterior motive behind his decision except the application of due process based in the file put before him. He said that the case hinged on the speed of the Ferrari supercar, that it was within the speed limit, and the police officer, who died, had been observed driving dangerously, causing him to cut across the sports car, leading, unavoidably, to his own death. Mr. Nate did reveal to the committee that a committee of the now-defunct National Legislative Assembly, the parliamentary assembly during the reign of the military junta, had been involved in efforts by lawyers acting on behalf of the accused to have the case revisited in the interests of justice over an extended period. This is an aspect of the case that has led to some senior officials within the Office of the Attorney General raising further questions as to the validity of Mr. Nate's review in the first place. Police officer assiduously questioned by committee chairman on Friday about his evidence on Friday. The chairman of the committee, Mr. Sira, also questioned, at length, Police Colonel Thanasit Tingchen, who explained his decision to change his expert testimony from stating that the car was driving at 177 km per hour to 79 km per hour. The chairman insisted that the police officer had, before the hearing, told him that he would name a commanding officer who ordered him to do so prior to giving his evidence. But when he was there, he only said that a commander brought Mr. Say Prasit to him, referring to the expert from King Monkit's Institute of Technology. Mr. Nate appeared before another panel on Thursday to answer questions on the Boss case. Mr. Nate, the prosecutor, had earlier defended his decision to drop the outstanding charge against Yoravuth or Boss when he appeared before another investigating panel. He told an internal committee of the Office of the Attorney General, set up to review the case and his actions, that the reason for the call he made was the evidence placed before him. Central to this, in his opinion, was the question of the speed of the Ferrari supercar on the 3rd of September 2012 as it travelled along the Sukhumvit Road in the early hours of that morning. Two expert witnesses from the Royal Thai Police working within the Forensic Science Unit had provided new expert testimony that the speed of the luxury car was 79 km per hour. Speed evidence changed with the new eyewitnesses to the crash having been also brought forward. Police evidence was that an initial estimate of 177 km per hour was an error based on flawed calculations. One of the police officers involved, however, has already told the House of Representatives panel, in the last week, that he had now again changed his opinion and that the 177 km per hour figure was correct. However, the prosecutor says he was told by the two police experts that the car involved was driving within the speed limit. He was also supplied with new witness statements from two people who were eyewitnesses on the morning of the 3rd of September 2012 of the accident on the Sukhumvit Road when the fatal crash took place. One of these was the now deceased Mr. Jerichat. Evidence presented on file was that Red Bull Air was driving within the speed limit and the policeman's erratic driving made his death inevitable. In addition to Jerichat Mardthong, there was Air Marshal Jakrit Thanomkulabata. The evidence was that the Red Bull Air was driving his Ferrari at well below the speed limit and that the victim in the crash, Police Sergeant Wichian Clan Prasit, had travelled erratically across the road, from the left to the right onto the oncoming smoky grey Ferrari. On Thursday, Mr. Nate told the panel that based on this evidence, the accident causing the death of the policeman was inevitable and could not have been caused by the then 27-year-old scion of one of Thailand's wealthiest families. This was the basis for dropping the charge. Based on the file presented to him, the prosecutor decided not to proceed with the charge against the now 35-year-old man living outside Thailand in exile after he fled the kingdom in April 2017, days ahead of charges being filed against him. Decision on the case made in June only became public on international TV station CNN. The prosecutor has tendered his resignation from his post on the 24th of July, following news of the Assistant Attorney General's decision being revealed by the international TV station, CNN. A spokesman for the Royal Thai Police stated unequivocally that no charge currently existed against Boss Yoravuth and that he was free to return home without fear of arrest. A subsequent statement by the Immigration Bureau has now contradicted this, saying the Red Bull Air would be detained based on an old warrant that has not been cancelled. Mr. Nate is still due before a variety of panels and inquiries to further explain his decision. He is reported over the weekend to have submitted his letter of resignation, but this has not yet been accepted. He is also known to be nearing retirement, but there is an option, pending a review by an internal panel or committee, to extend his service for a further 5 years. Prime Minister's inquiry into the scandal. Mr. Vicha Mahakan, who leads a panel established by the Thai Prime Minister, Prayut Chan-o-cha, to inquire into the affair, expressed on Thursday his determination to see Mr. Nate also appear before his committee whether his resignation from the Attorney General's office is accepted or not. The committee has been authorized by the Prime Minister to summon anybody, Mr. Vicha, a former chairman of the Anti-Corruption Commission, said. Death of one key witness on the 30th of July now ruled as a coincidental accident by Chiang Mai police. Meanwhile, police officers in Chiang Mai have said that, based on an investigation and autopsy following the death of one of the key witnesses in the case, Mr. Jerachut Marthong, on the 30th of July, they have concluded that it was an accident. This was decided on the basis that no toxic substance was found on the body and clear CCTV footage of the accident itself shows no foul play. A friend of Mr. Jerachut, named only as Lan, an aide to a former Chiang Mai senator with whom Mr. Jerachut had worked, has been charged with stealing the dead witness's smartphone from the hospital within 24 hours of his death and destroying the content of the device. However, he told police that he feared being linked with the ongoing controversy over the case as he is running for an election locally. This was why he stole the dead man's phone, left the SIM card outside Mr. Jerachut's home and deleted its contents. Police have indicated that they have conducted a review of the man's background and financial records and found nothing suspicious. Police panel report ordered by National Chief is highly critical of police involved in the case. It details the ill-judged and flawed response. A committee set up by the National Police Chief, General Chakthip Chajinder, has also filed its report. While the investigation found a range of glaring and multiple flaws linked with the actions of police involved with the investigation following the accident on the 3rd of September 2012, it found no fault with the decision, at the end of June, by Police Lieutenant General Permpung Chidjob not to object to the decision of the Assistant Attorney General, Mr. Nate, to drop the case. However, it identified a large array of mistakes and inexplicable failures in the handling of the investigation from within hours of the accident by police officers who responded and initially tracked down the Red Bull Air at his home on the morning of the 3rd of September 2012 to the weeks, months and years after when the case was stalled, evidence mislaid or not taken at all, until finally, the boss fled in a private jet just 2 days before police were due to arrest and charge him.